What is leadership? If you have a voice for sharing the message, influencing people, making an impact, expressing your passion, naming your curiosity, living your purpose, then this video and practice is going to be very, very helpful. I'm Alex Iglesia. This is a Wake Up Epic, so welcome back. We're looking at the 31st hexagram. So from the I Ching, we have a deep history and richness about the 31st hexagram to draw on, and the energy and the archetype. From a human design perspective, we've got the energy of the voice of the leader, leadership that is also then supported through right guidance. And from a Gene Keys perspective, we have the shadow of arrogance, we've got the gift of leadership, we've got the city of humility. What are they? How do we embody them? We're going to step into them. We'll do 4 rounds of a specific activation for them. A 5th round of noticing what's emerging and holding the tension, that's the creative tension, creative potential in your body, in your mind. And we'll wrap up with a little bit of distillation. Here we go. To begin, we're embodying the 31st hexagram. We've got a top and a bottom. So 2 movements, 2 poses make up the 31st. The first one is channel. Now this comes from UZAZU. We come forward, up, and narrow, yang, yang, yin, and it creates a movement we call channel. The idea is you're channeling something into the world, into a space of you and me. So that could be you're making dinner. That could be you're at the office and you want to make a proposal. Anything where from you, your offering is what channel is up to. And in channel, we can have all sorts of challenges. We could be afraid of giving what we have. We can be afraid to narrow our focus and niche for a lot of business people. We can be afraid to be active with it, maybe a bit more gentle or people pleasing with it, not so active and assertive, and a little more like, hey, what do you think? There's a lot of ways channel can come out in a way that's not just your natural, in the moment, best offer. That's our first place. Second movement is to shift back, yin, down, yin, and wide, yang. Yin, yin, yang. This is cradle. It's the bottom of the triagram. And in cradle, the attitude, the invitation is to put your attention on yourself and notice and reflect on how you feel. If we shift into our own space, listen and sense our experience, and open up wide so that we can reflect. If you have ever journaled, you know this experience. What am I thinking about this question? What's important to me right now? What do I value? Even that moment where we're thinking, I'm going to make a really nice dinner. I'm going to go to the grocery store and get this, this, and this ingredient. And you're taking the moment to write down what you're going to get. That's a cradling type of moment. What am I reflecting on that's important and valuable? What happens when we put these 2 together? Let's start with channel. You step forward, up, and narrow. Shift back, down, and wide, cradle. And as you start to go between the 2 together tell a story. And the story they tell together is the lesson of the 31. It is the archetype of the president. It is the gift of leadership. So what does this tell us about leadership? Can you imagine having a conversation with people at work? What does leadership mean to you? What does leadership mean to you? What should leadership mean? And all the different points of views. Well, this is giving us a very specific way to embody what is leadership. This is something specific about reflecting on what matters, reflecting on your momentary feelings, reflecting on the value you have, and then bringing that into a space together with more focus than not, with more agency than receptivity, and with more it's about you than it's about me. So let's try this a few more times together. Shift back into cradle. Be curious. What am I curious about? What do I want to say? And imagine you could grab it and bring it forward. When you grab your stuff, you bring it forward, you share it, there's a moment where you notice the feedback you're receiving from the environment, from the people. That is going to inform how you then feel about yourself, about your value. That could be positive feedback loop. It could be a negative feedback loop for lots of reasons. So let's do this 3 last times. Make sure you have the basic movement pattern. You can let it go and be even less formal with it. And we can do very slow, deeper, richer dives with it. So a great way to activate your sense of leadership in the moment. You want to be ready, you want to be hyped, but also grounded in your knowing. 31 is an amazing move for that. Now, there are statements that can come out of this. As you saw, we've got this sense of I'm taking care of what I know and I'm offering what I have. So we can create extremely first principle level affirmations, activations, provocations. And what we'll do now is we'll do one at a time, four times. We'll drop this statement into our experience. The purpose is to find your own natural alignment, to find your own truth with the statement, not to force the statement into your consciousness in some way, but to drop it in as an opportunity to notice where is their challenge, where is their flow, and what's true for you. Here we go. Because Cradle is about kindness in a lot of ways, being kind to self. Our first statement is, I give myself the same kindness, care, and love that I give to others. Giving to others, giving to self. So you can repeat after me. You can feel free to change the words a bit. I give myself the same kindness, care, and love that I give to others. And then let this movement pattern be authentic for you. Repeat the words in your mind. I give myself the same kindness, care, and love I give to others. The second activation. I can be as equally deserving of love and kindness as every person that I love. I can be as equally deserving of love and kindness as every person I love. Play with the words in your mind and heart and see how they impact the movement for you. If emotions come up or memories come up, witness them. It's part of the process as you find a new level of wholeness and integration. Number 3, I'm unconditionally good enough to deserve my own self-love. I'm unconditionally good enough to deserve my own self-love. Now, where might that be true? Where might it be true, but you have a hard time believing it and letting it be true? To be unconditionally good enough to deserve your own self-love. Be a leader to yourself. How do the words impact your body? And how do you want to shape this flow? Final, I can love and accept myself regardless of how much I'm helping others. So much contribution and the need to contribute for lots of reasons. And we're balancing that with the self-love and self-care. I can love and accept myself regardless of how much or how little I help others. A little twist, because there's a differentiation in this one, turn the palms away and cradle. I can love myself, one arm in, one arm out. I can love myself regardless of how I'm helping others. So have one hand out to give you a little bit of differentiation from others. I can love and accept myself no matter how I'm helping others. For our fifth round, I invite you to hold the tension between the two. We do that with one arm each. Got one arm back in cradle, one foot back in cradle, one foot, one arm up in channel. So we're doing both cradle and channel together. You can find your sweet spot with that, a little bit more, a little bit less of one or the other. And then once you've found a sweet spot, stay there. Let the shape hold you and support you. Kindness, self-care, helping others. And then let go of all the physicality. Shake your body a bit, come into neutral. Take a moment to reflect. What's the sense, the essence of your experience? What are you taking away from this now? This last moment, this sixth round, is about sharing. And it's a great time to journal. What did you notice? What did you take away? And notice the thoughts and see if they can come out on paper. Or speak them. You just went through an experience. And I know, after having done this for many, many years, each time we do this, you're creating a new possibility in yourself that we don't even know how to name. But it's the possibility in this case that goes with, I can be kind to myself no matter how or how I'm not helping anybody, and all the other statements. Many things that may show up for you in the next day, hours, it might make room for new choices. So rather than having to wait for some rock bottom moment or some crisis to make a decision because it's painful and it costs too much and you have to find that righteous indignation to take action, you can actually just open up the space for what can show up and how you can show up. Arrogance, leadership, humility. Notice how you're feeling in your body. Now, because with a 31 specifically, there's this idea that it needs support from the 7. I'd like to name what the 7 is so you have that energy too. The 7 is sponge on the top and pillar on the bottom, which means we start with sponge and we shift up into pillar, and we shift into sponge and we shift into pillar. So what does that say then? First of all, it's guidance. It's the gift of guidance. So imagine having deep inner awareness merged with self-agency, feeling the creative impulse. I can feel my feelings. I can feel the impulse. I can feel the feelings. I can allow a creative impulse to come through without resistance. And with that in the background supporting us, helping others, being kind to myself, caring for myself, bringing the care into my purpose. And we put them all together in our experience. I can feel anything. I can feel and acknowledge creative inspiration and impulse. I can hold what I care about and value, and I can contribute and bring my gifts to others. I don't know about you, but I get chills. So practice this. If you practice this and when you practice this, a great way to practice this is a little bit at a time for a few days in a row. Because the things when you do the movements today and then you notice what shows up and how you get to show up a little bit differently, the next day, roughly 24 hours later, there's a whole different layer. It could be things that are in your way that you haven't ever been able to sort out, limiting beliefs that were really buried or hidden, or patterns that were extremely in the shadows. It could also just be there's ready for some sort of new inspiration, some new level of clarity for a project or a dream. That's why these movement patterns are so important. There's 64 of them in the Gene Keys, Human Design, and the I Ching. Each of them is a unique, irreducible, fundamental pattern. And by exploring them and embodying them, we're resetting our foundation. And we're deconditioning from our parents and our expectations and our shoulds and our what we think we needed to do to protect ourselves and stay secure and safe. But there's a you, there's a true you that can't be broken. That's the true you that we get to touch every time we use an embodied practice like this. So thank you, enjoy, let your leadership shine, let yourself be guided, and I'll see you in the next Wake Up Epic.